Show number 36.
My name is Dr. Brianna Willie.
All right, welcome to episode 36. Let's go ahead and bring her on in the program. 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Welcome. I'm happy to have you as guest number 36.
Yeah, this is thank you for having me. Looks like part of my head is not showing up.
Oh no, you're looking. I can see you all of you up down there, Ian. And am I clear? On our last guest last week, nobody could hear me. Could you hear me today?
I can hear you
Okay.
just fine.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's perfect. Yeah, something happened. We had the check person, and so I tried to re-edit it, and hopefully the audio is better. But I'm glad it worked, and people can now. We are now live on the LinkedIn and also Facebook. No, not Facebook, but we'll put it later. But also on YouTube and also on your YouTube channel as well. So if people will come in, I know it's kind of early. It's a Sunday. We don't know what people are doing, but if you guys like to join it, please do, because we are going to get to know you, Dr. Bria. Are you ready to get to know yourself?
Sure.
All right. Appreciate you being so brave to be on the program. And let's go ahead and show you the first question. Okay. You are joining us from the great state of Florida. How are things in Florida? And how long have you been there?
Yeah, things are great now in Florida. We did go through a few hurricanes a while back. But today it's nice and sunny and beautiful.
Awesome. How long have you lived in Florida? Most of your life?
Oh, yes. Let's see, most of my life we moved down when I was about 2 years old.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's great. And do you enjoy living there?
I do, yeah. It's getting kind of packed, but it's still beautiful here.
What's the best thing about Florida?
I think the clear skies, the beautiful parks. My husband and I like to ride our bikes, and there's some great uh, just parks for bike riding. It's really cool. We actually ride a tandem bike.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is actually. I mean, I have a three-wheeler, but there are certain states. But explain what that is.
Yeah, it's where 2 people can be on a bike.
Oh,
So
okay. I've seen that before. That's cool.
yeah,
I
so
always
we're
see
at
that in movies and stuff, like in cartoons. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. He is a much better writer, so it kinda works for both of us, where we can kinda, ride together and that type of thing, so it's
Amazing,
fun.
amazing. Yeah, about maybe 5 years ago, I got a three-wheeler, and so I wanted to try one of those, and I built it myself from eBay. And then people,
Oh,
every time I ride, somebody new sees me and likes it, and it's like, "Oh, I like this bike. Where'd you get it?" A new neighbor or a new person on the lake, and kind of thing. And so it's great. And you mentioned Florida with the weather. I think there's like 3 or 4 states that we can say: Florida, Arizona, and maybe California that have the nice weather. Maybe Nevada, any of the West states or close to the water. Some of them are good. And in terms of weather year round, it's perfect. But
yeah,
every state has its ups and downs, right?
sure. The traffic here,
I
definitely not great.
was gonna say the more like the weather, but the traffic. The traffic I think is bad everywhere. But I haven't been to Florida. I only been to Mobile, Alabama, which is probably on the tip. It's pretty
Mhm.
close there. But because I used
Yeah.
to live in Arkansas, and
Oh.
we drove and saw different things there, basically. So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I think you passed this one. Let's move on to the next question here. Okay, let's go
Okay.
on. Okay, okay. What would be an ideal evening for you guys to do? What something that you enjoy the most, not work related, basically.
Sure. It's actually what we do. We watch a show we love, and we're big movie and TV show buffs. We like to try watching fantasy or sci-fi types of shows. So we'll have a good meal and watch a good show, and that's actually what we do pretty much every night.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're like into the Star Wars or the Star Trek kind of shows, right? Those
Yeah, we've watched Star Trek. We've watched all the Star Wars, Dune. Well, business nerd, but I'm also a nerd. Let's see, we just watched Twin Peaks, which, oh my goodness, is that a good show? It's from the 90s. I don't know if I'd mentioned it to you before.
I don't think so. I heard of it, but explain what the concept of that is about.
Oh, wow. That's it's hard to describe. There's a whole Substack
Oh,
built around, so Substack is a blog. There is a blogger who writes a whole thing about trying to interpret it. I'm actually trying to build a blog post to try to interpret it. I've been nerding out with my GPT to try to interpret it. I don't even know how to answer that question.
yeah,
It's uh about I don't even know. We
oh,
might have to skip that one.
yeah.
It's just very sci-fi and weird, and it's all about, like, open loops, so they don't close loops. So
Oh,
you see a scene, and you're not even really sure what's happening. And I
oh,
don't wanna spoil it either, so, it's about a town, and it
mhm,
has 2, mountains, I guess, the peaks,
yeah.
and it's small, and there's an FBI agent who visits the town to try to understand what happened with a murder, but it turns like there's 10 different routes it goes in the weirdness and the eeriness. So there's way more to it. There was a reboot in 2017, and that is just wild. But anyway, that's just kind of a snapshot.
Exactly. What year was that movie? Or would you?
The movie so the show was in the 90s, I can't remember the exact year, and then right after was a movie to try to close some loops. What was it called? Fire Walk with Me or something like that.
Oh,
It has, possible aliens in it, we're not really sure.
yeah.
It's got some dark entity in it that we discover in the 2017 reboot, which
Oh,
is the show. It's like this character called Judy, but
yeah.
anyway, I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
It's wild.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I'll check it out, and whoever's watching can also check it out. They'll see the recording of the live one now or later. So interesting, interesting. Okay, so that's how you guys spend the night watching some sci-fi and movies like that. That's interesting. How long have you guys been doing that? If it's something you're interested in, and there's more going to be questions about nerd life and all that. But what would you or business for nerds and that? What gets you interested into that? Like how long ago?
Okay, you cut out a little bit, but what got me interested in this ideal evening? Is that what you said?
What got you interested in the sci-fi stuff, basically?
Oh, sci-fi. Oh, let's see. It probably started when I was a kiddo and, just watched like Star Trek, Star Wars, that type of thing. But I really got into it more when I started playing video games in my 20s. I did not start much earlier than that, though I played a little Donkey Kong as a kiddo, but my 20s I started playing this game called Thief Deadly Shadows, and there's a whole cult following of that game. And then I played the earlier games, and I guess that actually kind of opened the door to nerding out with movies and TV shows because from there, I just got hooked with sci-fi. Even though it's not really sci-fi, that's more like an adventure. I mean, it's a sneaking game. I forget all the genres, and I'm probably getting it wrong.
Yeah.
But, that kinda opened the door to nerding out about those types of things, I think.
Amazing, amazing, awesome. All right, let's move on to the next question here. Okay, where do I love to go for vacation? If you had the choice to go on vacation, I know we're all busy, but where would be your ideal place for you guys to go on vacation?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we want to travel. Um, I'm really interested in taking one of those tours, maybe across Europe on a train or even the US train. I was just talking with Alexander Semenyuk. He's an author, and he was talking about how he trekked across the US on a train, and I think
Oh,
that
wow.
sounds really fun. So I think that would be the next thing I want to do is get on a train and see some huge landscape.
That's amazing. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that in the US there are some trains, and that reminds me, a friend of mine, he took a train from Canada, from the West End all the way to the East Coast, and I think it took him a week or 10 days. I don't remember how much, but and he enjoyed it. I was like, wow, he was like an older guy, and he had some kind of a disease, and he's like, I would just want to go and try. He's still around, and he just went by himself, solo. Like he left the kid, the wife, and all the kids are grown up and married, and he just went and tried it. And we don't realize how we have these trains also, and we tend to always drive, right?
Yes, but a train is, like, relaxing because then you don't have to drive, you're just, reading or looking and eating and whatever.
Oh yeah, exactly, exactly. And then the Europe thing is as well awesome. I just went to Europe back in October. I went to a couple of places, England and then Bosnia and Turkey. And maybe next time I'll go, I'll definitely take the train because if you look at it, they have the route. You can even go from England, and they have the Euro rails or something like that they call it. When you can go to different places in Europe. I think it even started in England, and you can go all the way to Italy as well. So you can go that, and that's it's a different environment. You get to see
Mhm.
the scenes and all that. It's amazing. Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go on to the next question here. Okay, what is your most cherished memory, either now as a child, something that stands out to you that you say, oh, wow, I remember this. Like for me, I always remember growing up with the grandparents, or having the moment of reading a book with them. And yeah, especially the scene where I would buy a toy with my grandfather would say, no, you should buy a book. And I would read the Magic School Bus books with them. Can you remember something? I gave you a moment there to think about it.
Oh, there's so many good memories. Well, probably, uh, of course, with my family, I have so many good memories. But when I got to know my future husband a little more, when we met each other in high school and got to know each other a tiny bit on this Philly trip that we took with our choir, and I got to know his silliness because he was singing with his best friend and making up the words to different songs, like changing the words, and I just saw his humor, and, that was such a fun, experience. And then, yeah, just stuff like that.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah, that's always fun to have. So anything humorous and fun, that we all remember these things in case we have things in life that happen, and then we're gonna talk more about that kind of stuff. But that's amazing. Yeah, we remember that kind of stuff, and that always helps us in guiding us when things happen. Oh, this happened, and I'm the kind of person who's always joking, and I'm a laughing person. So I always, when things happen, I tend to laugh about it. Like even though I see things that are not supposed to be laughable, it's like that kind of thing. So that's how I get. But that's always wonderful to remember those things, and it's very mind gives you a good mind boost from what happened. Okay, let's go
Yeah.
on to the next one. Okay, uh, what was your favorite cartoon as a child? I know we always watch cartoons, and were you a cartoon person, or were you only into like this? I know they did Star Trek cartoons as well, but what was your
Yeah. I wasn't really into the cartoons for Star Trek, though I liked, like the earliest ones I remember are like He-Man and She-Ra. I guess I'm, telling my age a little bit. But what were some others? DuckTales I really liked. The
yeah?
Gargoyles was
Those are classic.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, stuff like that. We always remember them, and then they don't make cartoons like they used to anymore. I mean, I haven't watched cartoons. I don't have any kids, but you see some of the stuff they do. Maybe some stuff is different. The animation is more 3D or whatever it is. But yeah, those are the classics, DuckTales and Darkwing Duck. In fact, when you said Twin Peaks, there was an episode of Darkwing Duck that was called Twin Peaks. So that's the only thing I remember about Twin Peaks.
Oh my goodness. I
Maybe
need
you should check it out and see if it's related to that,
what
and
yeah.
talk about it. So
There's definitely books on Twin Peaks.
yeah,
The creator of it, I anyway, I could go down a tangent. I'm
yeah,
neurodivergent.
please do, please do. We always like that. Go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I want to get some of those books, like the one by I saw on that Substack I was talking about David Lynch on David Lynch. So that's the create one of the creators of Twin Peaks. I
Yeah.
need to get that book.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
think I've heard of him. Does he also write other books or other items or other TV shows? It's like I heard that name.
Yes. Yeah, he created a lot of different movies, I believe, with what is his name? Kyle MacLachlan, who is the lead in Twin Peaks, the FBI agent. So he was in a lot of his different movies. I think I'm still even learning about David Lynch because prior to Twin Peaks, I wasn't, I didn't really know tons about him either. So I'm even still learning what his other stuff is.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. All right, we're gonna get into the serious questions, Dad, but we always start with some questions here about to make it a little bit comfortable for you guys and all that. So, okay, let's get into business for nerds. Okay, this seems like an interesting. Where did you come up with the name? And it just stands out, right? And then, if you want, I can just share business for nerds, your blog and your website there, as you're talking about that.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this is a doing business as a DBA for our main business, which is Attainable Vision LLC. So, but this part of it is it's like my baby. It emphasizes who I am. It kind of expresses my neurodivergence a little bit because I'm a nerd and I nerd out about stuff. I sometimes get stuck in nerding out like side tangents and rabbit trails.
Yeah.
So, but I make sure that I'm adding fun to the business. So, like I just created a post where we had a workshop replay and I spent a bit of time in Canva creating this new intro to my workshops. And that was super fun. So the side tangent turned into something marketable. So I'm all about teaching other business owners how to build sustainable businesses where they can be authentic in their work, they can be themselves, they can have some fun. And my heart is helping other therapists bring beauty and fun into their businesses, whether that's with a side hustle or with trying to bring a little fun into their main business, the private practice. Anyway, there's a kind of little nutshell.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, and we'll get to more of that. But here's one of the sites that you created, basically, right? This is the Substack one, right?
Yes.
You put it together, and it has a lot of interesting, unique things here. And people like diversity; they like colors. And then when you see these kind of things here, people want to click on them and they want to find out more. So this is all amazing stuff here.
Thank you.
What would be like the term of in your definition of nerd? Like you named it nerd on that one, but what's your definition of it, Doctor? What's your definition of when you say nerd for business? What's your definition of that?
Yeah, maybe someone who, I mean, I think we can all nerd out about something. So, really, anyone can be a nerd about something.
Yeah,
Like, I had someone on my show that nerded out about animals and turtles and that type of thing. Like, you could nerd out about AI, you could nerd out about accounting. I guess for me, it means it shows my quirky weirdness that I'm okay with that. And before, I used to kind of hide some of my quirkiness. I used to try to be like everyone else, but it's about being yourself. So that's my definition of nerd. Um, you know, you talk to others, they'll have different definitions because perception, we all have different perceptions, but that's my view.
Amazing, amazing. A couple of good things there that you mentioned that how how wanted to be yourself and all that, and then what the nerd is, and you wanted to be like other people, but then you found out. So that's yeah, that's the key to that. Very, very wonderful points there. Okay, let's go on to the next question there. Okay, tell me a client that you had that was difficult, and did that make your job challenging or more enjoyable? I know sometimes, like I tutor or and I teach as well, and sometimes you have like a 5 year old or a 10 year old who's gonna be difficult in your tutoring, but they can challenge you to want to improve better. But then you'll have like an 80 year old who's perfect and you can fit with them, and it really depends. I'm sure you have one of those clients before, and I also wanted to say a couple of other people said that. The ones who are difficult are the ones who don't want help or don't want to deal with the issue, and then they tend to be difficult. They don't want to do that kind of thing. Do you probably agree with that?
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it depends on the scenario you're looking at too, because if you're in, so I'm also a therapist, and of course I can't talk about clients, but I could give you kind of generalities with that. Trying to think with like business coaching clients, that's a whole nother thing because they're very unique. But maybe I could talk, yeah, in generalities. So if a person, people are coming to us as coaches or therapists because they have a problem, something's going off in their world. And, you know, uh, I feel like I naturally really connect with all kinds of people because I try to put myself in their shoes. But yeah, occasionally there can be, stuck points where the person isn't ready to work on that thing. And I'm real gentle about it. I say things like, well, we can work on it when you feel ready, or things like, what is it you maybe need to enhance or build to help you face that challenge. I really like what my friend Kato said the other day. Well, not the other day, it was in a workshop replay I just released, that a challenge or a constraint is something that helps us, that can help us be more creative, kind of like what you said, that we have to find a way through. It can help us grow. So maybe the client, this is an opportunity for them to grow. Maybe it's an opportunity for me to learn more in order to help them better too. Um, so yeah, I think that we always, will face challenges in our businesses. We'll face things we don't know how to help. And maybe we need to call in another expert or another resource or get some more training or maybe refer out if we feel like we can't help. So that's
Exactly.
another piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Let's go on here to the next one. Okay, so this is a question I ask everybody. So if you would invent an item or an idea to help mankind, what would it be? And this could be deep, this could be something minor. People got into, there are 35 people before you who said this. What would you think? People said cure a disease, or make homelessness go away, or because a lot of it could be even in your field, like we want people to listen to my advice, right? I'm sure you tell somebody to just do certain thing, and they're being stubborn. They say no, no, no. Smoking is a good example. Somebody smokes, and some people say the smoking helps them out, but if the doctor tells you quit smoking, something might happen to you. They don't want to leave that habit, and a lot of it has to do with addictions as well. um, so what
Mhm.
would you say you would invent an idea or an item?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a really good question. And I'm not a great, yes, I'm nerdy, but I'm not nerdy with the building things. I don't know. My husband creates, like, he can, build mechanical things, but I think
It
the
could,
world needs more empathy. I don't
yeah,
know if there's an item that could be built to help with building and empathy.
yeah,
Um, building more empathy. Like I think most people have the capacity to be empathic and to put themselves in other people's shoes, but learning it, and practicing it and building it is another thing. And I guess this is with my therapist hat on. If we
Yeah.
had more empathy for each other, we could put ourselves in the other person's shoes and see their perspective better. Now, how could we invent something to help them build that, or enhance their empathy? Um, you can teach it a little bit with counseling. You can teach it as a parent, but how do we teach the world to practice it more? I guess I'd want to build something that helped that.
Oh yeah, no, that's nice. That's definitely. We have a couple more questions here. But yeah, I like empathy. Because we all need that, right? And then the moment, and I think somebody mentioned anger one time too. That I wish we can have some kind of Google glasses that can tell if you're about to get angry or the situation, so you don't get upset about it. But in general, I think the whole world needs empathy, and a lot of people do get upset easily at silly things, and then when they realize, oh my god, I lost this, but it doesn't really matter. You kind of think like even if you lose like $5, people get upset about it. It's like, oh no, but and then they get it back like the next week. It's kind of stuff like that. So people tend to. It depends on how they're into that item or that issue that happened, and they get upset about it. But it's a whole broad. But I like empathy. That's interesting there.
Mhm.
And I know you also host a show, right? And you do some beautiful things. I've watched it a couple of times. What
Thanks.
is it about? What qualities makes an excellent host? Like, how long have you been doing your program? What is your program called? And what makes an excellent host?
Oh, those are good questions. And I feel like I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I think being teachable is really important for being a host because we don't know everything, but I think starting somewhere, you know so say you're afraid to start a podcast or be a host, sometimes you just got to start, and then build as you go and learn. So being an excellent host is about, I think, listening really well. I guess being a therapist really helps because I'm great at interviewing.
Mm.
Coming up with some questions, like you're great with these questions. You have like a format. I think that's really cool. Um, and sometimes too, playing it loose, like you can go off script a little bit. You can go down, rabbit trails within reason and balance. But listening, empathy is really good being a host. And that type of thing, I guess. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. When did you start your program? I know you do it once a week. When did you start it?
I started about when the business started, about 2023, when the Business for Nerds, Attainable Vision started. So it was like late 2023-ish. And I had no idea what I was doing. The only stuff I knew was, one, I'm a therapist, so I know how to interview. Two, uh, I had no idea how to start a YouTube channel, so I had to figure that out. I didn't really have any video software, so I tried Clipchamp, and that was a great intro. But yeah, I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been like a tech person too, and so I just started it. And actually, the reason I started was there's a guy named Donald Cohen who had like 35,000 followers. And one day I watched his program, I was like, "This is amazing! People do like live shows." It reminded me of the talk shows from the '90s, like the Regis show. I don't know if you remember Live with Regis. I was a fan of him,
Yeah.
and so I saw him do that. He was like a figure, and he still does the show now once a week. He used to do the show every day, nonstop for an hour, like every day, 365 days a year. He never
Oh.
stopped. And then now it's once a week, and so sometimes I get invited on that show. But so when he invited me on in 2023, I was so terrified that first time. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be on live TV. What am I gonna say? Is it actually live? It's not that much. And so when I came on, I was nervous, but then within 10 minutes, you became so relaxed, and then I got invited again, and then from there I got invited to like 10 other shows from him and other people. They saw me, and so 2023 was kind of a big year in terms of LinkedIn and getting more connections, which is amazing. and then you find out all these wonderful people out there. So it was like that, and then from there I was like, well, I'm doing my own show. It's like this is amazing. I've always had this dream, so kind of thing.
Yours
Yeah.
is great. I love all the different avenues you go down and interact with people. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I want to know what these stand for. I know these are on your profile and that, but a lot of people don't know. A little bit, tell us about yourself as well. You're a mental health therapist, and we're almost done, about 5 minutes or so. But what made you, first of all, get into mental health and want to help people? And then these acronyms, because I'm curious, what is the QS? I might use it for my quiz show that I do.
So, yes, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. So, that's that. Certified rehabilitation counselor, a certified telehealth practitioner, a certified professional coach, and then a qualified supervisor. So, that's what those are.
Oh, okay. Qualified supervisor. That's QS. That's interesting.
hmm
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that means I can teach interns who are they're going into becoming registered mental health counselor interns. And we actually have to say that out, that whole thing.
uh-huh. Oh
There's a lot
wow.
of rules.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's the first one again? LMHS HC. I mean, what is that
Yeah,
one?
licensed mental health counselor.
Okay. Oh, interesting. That's awesome. Yeah.
And that's
And
in Florida.
oh, it's all in Florida. Yeah. And then
hmm
you have a PhD, I'm assuming, because you're a doctor, right?
I have a doctorate in education, and it's in community care and counseling with a specialty in trauma.
Okay. Awesome. And you enjoy that. I know it's gonna be challenging dealing with all those that, but that's amazing. You deal
Thank
with
you.
mainly adults or different groups? What?
I've worked with children. I mainly work with 15 and up now, all ages 15 and up.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate you being on the program, Bria. Any last minute words for our viewers, and give us like a sentence or two about you know the, closing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I think that, therapists can build side hustles, but we have to be strategic with it. I think that it's possible to have fun in our businesses, and I'm all about teaching that too. So, and then final words, stay nerdy always.
That's always important. Yeah, we always need to do that. And I have one final. Why are we so much addicted to social media? And I know we did a mental health program a couple of days ago, and then it went great, almost an hour. But why do people love posting? Why do people love connecting with the social media, and they can't get rid of that? We can end it on that note.
Yeah. I think there's a craving for connection. Um, Sue Johnson wrote a book. Now this is for couples, but it's titled "Created for Connection," and I think that that is really what drives us to connect on social media. Now there can be an addiction factor, which I think we're still learning about, that may involve dopamine and how when you get a like versus not, how that affects your brain. And I'm not a neurologist or a neuropsychologist, but I know how it affects me, or how it affects me when no one sees my post, and actually I'm teaching on trying to get out of that cycle, that it's not just about whether people like it or not. It's about, connecting and making authentic, like this, like
Yeah.
one-on-one
Yeah,
connections.
information and stuff like that. Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Because there was a video I put in about a phone that he says if you wake up and then you check your phone next to the person you're next to, that means you have an addiction. And if you have four phones, and so I've learned there's a lock app that I use from like 6 p.m. to the morning to like 7 a.m. It's locked, so I cannot use it. If to unlock it
Ooh.
for emergencies, you can actually put a pay on it, like some kind of a price. Like the highest is like $300, so you can actually set that. You can
Oh.
it that way. So if you're triggered to do that, you have to pay for it. And one time, I technically don't want to use my phone, but I need it for my work to log in. It sends me a code and all that, so I have to have it. One time, I accidentally turned it on, and I set it up for like $20 or something, and then I had to unlock it, and I had to pay real quick because I was like, "Oh my god!" I pushed it real quick. And so after that, I'm like, gotta be careful. So I lock it from 6 p.m., 7 p.m. after work, and in the morning. But then I do have on my computer the WhatsApp or a phone app, so I can text from there, not using the devices. And so, yeah, we need to figure out as humans. That's a challenge that a lot of people, I'm sure you too, and the mental health expert who was on there, he's always talking about like kids and 12-year-olds not able to sleep because of these. And I've had even
Mm,
kids who I was tutoring, and they'll be 12 years old, couldn't sleep, and video games, and then the parents are wondering how come he's doing bad in math, and they're asking me
yes.
this, and I'm like, get rid of the video game. Two months later, he's still doing the video games. It's like it's like
Yes.
that kind of stuff. So that's kind of stuff that it always starts with the home and how you raise the kids, the limitations, and they're there to stay,
Yeah.
the items, but can we limit them, and be able to control that? It can be done, but they're now coming at it as a habit, where there's more stuff to our brain, and then we can go to the metaverse, we can go all these things, the items.
Yeah. And
That's
I,
the point of my mic, though, but that's okay.
oh
Huh?
no.
That's gonna make good for the bloopers if we ever come. But, definitely good. So I appreciate you being on the program, Doctor. And next week we're gonna go to another person who's in Serbia, for episode 37. Normally it's every 2 weeks, and I wanted to bring you on, because you couldn't make on that late program, and so I wanted to help you out and bring you in this program. And we're booked for next week, and then after that, another person in Africa. So it's basically a show about getting to know people from LinkedIn and the wonderful connections we have. People can watch this. Unfortunately, we had no comments today, but that's okay. You guys can watch it later on, and wonderful guests here. Thank you again for being on the program. Any other advice or last minute words before we end it? We have
Just
like a minute.
again, stay
Well,
nerdy.
stay 30. All right, that's perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Wonderful guest, Bria. Let me go ahead and end the stream.
Thanks.
Stay with me for a few seconds as I end it now. Goodbye, guys.